My apologies, everybody. It's not on the dot. I'm 3 minutes late, but it has just been a super, super busy week. Uh, it, I can tell it's tax season, so that's good. Uh, it took a little bit longer because I needed to send out a contract, excuse me, to a customer. So I've been working on that all day, but I wanted to make sure that, of course, I am able to get on here for you. So, uh, as the starting uh, filler, we're going to talk about site work. What is site work? What kind of costs can we be expecting when doing site work? So, what I'm doing is I'm actually in front of my computer right now. I'm going to bring up a recent uh, deal that we did where we had to do site improvements, which include septic tanks, foundations, electrical, driveways, uh, th- so all those items. So site work means it's improvements to your property. So when we quote prices of our homes, it does not include those improvements. That also means the improvement from connecting from your source, whether it be water, electric, septic, to the home itself. That's all done on the property. That's not something that we build ourselves. So that's all extra. Okay, let me bring it up. Hopefully, your Friday has been amazing. The sun is out. The wind went down here in Fort Worth, so that's fantastic for us. Uh, Yesterday, I took my microphone with me and I left it. I have like a pocket on the side of my Palm Harbor jacket, and I stuffed it in there, uh, thinking, "Oh, I'll remember to take it out." Well, apparently that's not the case. So I had to use my headphones here. I did a video earlier today. If you didn't get to see it, I tried to sneak it in as best as I can. Like I mentioned, we've been super super busy, uh, but I did a video today talking about uh, this new program that we have, where obviously, as you know, it's just me here, and there's a lot of opportunities that miss to be able to help somebody. So Cascade Financial, that's why I'm rocking their gear today, was able to provide me a software program where if you see one of my ads, you see the pricing is on there, and you really want to purchase this home or a good idea of what to do and how to get financed, it's amazing. This link that you can go to, which I'll put on every single one of my ads, uh, will basically ask you the same questions I would ask you if we were over the phone or in person. And we can get through the steps. So that way, as soon as I get your information, I can act quickly in working through DocuSign or an email or some kind of PDF to get you guys moving forward. So my computer's working a little bit slow, which I know why, because I am doing a live feed. So give me a quick second. Uh-oh. Okay, it's not working. I have the file here though. Okay, let's see here. That's why I keep things on paper, not always on digital. So I still do some things pretty old school. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about site improvements, what they are, and what they cost. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this really quickly, um, just so we can have an example of what we send our customers. Basically, these are all bids that we will send to our customers, showing them from our contractors what costs are. Okay, so the very first one we're going to talk about now is these prices that I'm using. This is for an area about 200 miles away from us. here in at the factory in Fort Worth. So I'm just going to kind of give you an example. Okay, so one of the first things we have to make sure when we go out is ensure that we can get your house to the property. Depending where you want to place your home at, will determine whether or not we have to put a drainage pad. And what that is basically crushed rock, gravel, some kind of road base that we put underneath the home. So that way, when it rains, water drains away from the setup of your home, allowing for the home to keep it set level. So we have to determine that. If there's not proper drainage, then you will need a home pad to be placed on there. So depending on how extravagant of a home pad you want in drainage, we've seen home pads run anywhere from like $2,600 all the way up to $7,000, $8,000, just because if you wanted to cut out, even out, do some actual big time dirt work, those costs can get up there. But in a normal situation, on a normal piece of property, nothing too extravagant, about $2,600 will be able to cover your home drainage pad for the largest single wide and double wide home. Typically on a big triple wide or our 4-section homes like the flex models, you probably can add about another $600 to that cost. So really about $3,000 or less will cover your home pad for on a regular basis, from anywhere from a single wide all the way to our 4-section housing. Okay, the next thing is for manufactured housing, foundations are not required. They're highly recommended. We typically offer a pier or a runner system. A lot of people ask us about slabs. We can do slabs. The unfortunate part about doing slabs is that you're using a lot of concrete for no apparent reason other than to say you have a slab. And let me kind of explain that. So slabs themselves, you'll find in traditional housing now, because there's not a subfloor, so you gotta walk on something. As they're typically building a site-built home, the first things that go in before they put the slab is going to be your plumbing and footing. Your footing is what actually holds the weight of your home. So that's what actually gets inspected. That's the most important piece of it. The slab itself is just for you to walk on. So you can imagine you have your manufactured home here, and then you have your slab underneath here, and there's only like certain areas where the blocks are going to be set at, where the weight points are on your home. That's all that really is going to sustain the weight of it. The rest of it is like literally, if you're like, hey, if I go underneath there, I don't want to get dirty. But the truth is, you're not going to get dirty for any home that I set for you, because we put down a big plastic, it's like black, and we call it a vapor barrier, and it will be 100% clean all the time when it's down there. So with the exceptions of if you get spiders and stuff, that's a whole different scenario. But typically it's always clean underneath there. So we can do slabs if you want it. They truly are just a waste of money. But if you want to spend it, we'll take it. We'll take it and we'll do it for you. But typically runners or piers are the type of foundations that we use. Now, in other states where we build modulars, such as Colorado, Arizona, and we're doing more ground set, we do stem walls, either through with blocks full of concrete. And that is an expensive option. It's a cool looking option because it's what makes our homes look more ground level, because we go in, we dig out a certain amount of space in order for us to roll the house in, and then we build a weight-bearing wall or the stem wall, so that way we can backfill to it. But the house itself is still sitting on those piers, or sorry guys, are sitting in the pier or your runners. Stem wells, the last one I did has been a long while, but they were running with the dig out. They were running us about $25,000 to $30,000 to do. So if it's something you wanted to do and have that look, you're more we can do it. Or we welcome you to do it if you like. All right, so those are the foundations. A pier and runner foundation typically is going to cost anywhere from like $7,500 and upwards to about $12,500, depending from single wides all the way to our big triple wides or triple wide flex models, our 4-section homes. So that kind of gives you an idea, more or less, what kind of cost you can expect. Now, understand these costs that I'm giving you are kind of based on some real numbers that we've gotten recently. Contractors all price differently. So these prices that I give you should just give you kind of like a litmus test, or kind of give you just a general estimate of what you can be looking at to spend when doing these types of improvements to your property. Okay, so we have foundation, we did pad. The next thing that we do for site work is going to be your skirting. Typically, our pricing includes a vinyl skirt. It's temporary. It's just so that way it seals up the bottom of the house. The other option that a lot of people like to do is they like to do like the most popular is smart panel exterior, which is what matches the house. So what they do is they're going to lay down treated lumber on the ground. They're going to do treated lumber onto the home, and they're going to build like a wall, and then they're going to use the material that we use on the house and seal that up, and they use the trim out. So basically, from top to bottom of your house looks the same. That's one of our most popular options. Smart panel can cost you anywhere between $25 to $30 a linear foot. So typically you're probably looking at about 4,800 for the single wides, and probably somewhere around the $7,000 for a big triple wide or triple wide flex model. So that's what you're going to be looking at now. I don't really do much brick, so I don't really have a quote for you, but it is an option that people like to use for their skirting. So, all right. So the other options that they do for on site are decks. So the decks themselves. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at myself on the computer. I'm trying to make sure that I can see your messages. Well, you know what? Did I? Can you guys check to see if the chat is working? Actually, let me see. It shows. I was in such a hurry today, so I would hate for me to miss out and see. Oh, it does look like the chat is working. Okay. So let's go back to what we were talking about site work wise. So we talked about the pad, foundation, we talked about skirting, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about decks. So typically we give you some rinky dinky just to get you in and out steps included in our pricing, but we can build decks on site. We've seen some major custom decks, and we just seen some regular decks. Typically, most people, depending on VA, FHA, the type of financing, they usually just kind of require 4x4s or 4x6 decks to be put in. And then we have other people that ask for bigger decks to be placed on there. So we have done like full length decks in the front with dormers, or just dormers are like gables that they use, like the peaks of the home. We've seen them do that. We've seen them do flat roofing, just crow's crow's feet on them. So there's a lot of different styles on there. The last one that we did was a 10 foot in width by, I think it was 76 feet in length for the full entire front. That cost us about $24,000 to do on the front end of the home. I've seen customers do, 10 by 14 in the back, and then have another deck and then another deck down, just based on how their property was. So they had three decks to the back, and that cost like $14,000 to do. So there's just a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can get really clever in the way you set up your home. But typically on the normal end of things, for a four by four deck or a 4x6 deck, not modular or FHA, just a regular deck itself, you're probably looking about $1,500 for that. You got to add about $800 if we go modular or FHA for the requirements that they're asking for, like additional bracing, concrete, things of that nature, uh, to meet the specifications for the deck. All right, um, so once again, home pad, foundation, skirting, decks are all considered site improvements. So let's get into the biggie ones, which are going to be electrical, water, septic, wells. Okay, so um, here is an estimate, which is typically the wells. All right, so depending on the well company you decided to go with or who we're using, right now we're seeing a backlog in wells between 4 to 6 months, just kind of like our homes. They're just as equally as busy as we are in being able to go out and put wells. This part of this, it's looking like, I'm going to use this quote here. And if someone's done one recently, you can let me know what the price per square footage came out to. So this particular well came out to 20,715, and they dug down about 350 feet. So that came out to $59, 59.18. So between $59 to $60 a foot for drilling now, but that it does include the casings, it includes the holding tanks, the switches, the pump, and so forth on there. So for a well, yeah, that's probably the number you want to use, and it's better for you to estimate on the high end than the low end on anything, as you start to price out your budget in purchasing a manufactured or a modular home. So for the well, if you estimate about that $60 per foot, that should be able not only just for the drilling, but also the casings and the pumps and the electrical that runs to the well itself. It also would include running the water line into your home itself. So that's the well. All right, so septic tanks. Depending on your soil and property conditions, typically a septic tank, the most common tanks that we use now are the aerobic system, just because the counties require it. We can still do your standard conventional ones as long as they give us a permit to do it. Standard conventional septic tank will probably cost you on the high end about $7,000 or $7,500 with rock. Rock, if it's super solid rock, it's definitely a lot less if there's no rock in the soil condition there. So about $7,000 or $7,500. Going into an aerobic system, we're typically anywhere between $8,300, and I've seen them go as expensive as $18,000 for the different type of septic aerobic systems that they are, because there's the ones that actually have the sprinklers, and then there's ones that they actually do like a drip system on it. The drip itself is more common in areas where your property is so small that there's not enough area for the sprinkler to spray out without contaminating the neighbor's property itself. So they can get really, really expensive. So that can give you just a general estimate of what you can be spending for a septic tank, both conventional and aerobic. All right, water line, electric. So depending if your electric is at the street front and then how far back you're going, typically we tell everybody within 100 feet um, of an electrical pole, we can do the electrical meter loop somewhere about I think it was like $3,200 on the high end, and probably about $2,800 on the low end. And then running from the meter loop into your house within 100 feet typically cost you somewhere about $1,800 to $2,300 to do on a normal situation. Well, there is times that it can get higher than that, especially if we go further distance. Typically, I tell everybody use about $20 a foot more in case that you happen to go further than the 100 feet. So I've seen most of our electrical hookups cost us anywhere between 5,200, including the meter loop, and run us as high as $14,000 when, I mean, we went big time into the property itself. So typically, depending who your electrical company is, they can come out and bring power to the actual area you're putting your home on without any additional fees, just because you're going to be an electrical customer of theirs. Not every single electrical company is that way, but I have seen it more often than none that they'll bring it out for you without any additional cost. So that helps saves you money itself. So driveways, there's all sorts of different driveways we can do, road base, gravel. We've done concrete driveways. We've done garages. We've done carports and such. So typically we use a road-based driveway for the majority of the homes that we do, and usually there's like a 20 by 20 parking pad that we put down on road base itself. Let me see here. I have a bid for one of those here recently. And I do apologize that I'm not really prepared. It's just been so crazy this week, which I'm super thankful for everyone who's come in. And this portion of the feed was actually requested by an existing customer who just received the keys to their home and asked me to open up, or she suggested this for me because I had asked them what I should do. I can't find the driveway, but typically driveways with about 120 feet of driveway for road base with some gravel on it costs us about $3,500. That usually does cover your culvert if needed on there. Once again, concrete's expensive. We've done a 100-foot by 20 by 20 concrete one a couple years ago. That thing cost us somewhere around like $15,000 to do. So, but that gives you just an idea of what kind of cost you can expect on the driveway. Garages themselves, typically a finished garage with electrical, the garage door for you to park inside, a door to exit as well. Typically, those are going to run us anywhere between $25,000 to $35,000. Once again, just kind of depending how far you are, and that's for like a 2-car garage. So that and all. So on a typical, nothing super hard, everything just seems to be right estimate for your property to do electric, water, foundations, driveways, septic tank, normal decks and skirting. Typically we have you estimate between $50,000 to $60,000. So as if you guys have been following the videos I put out on our land home package video, I kind of broke a lot of this down on an Excel sheet and really just kind of give you a general estimate. It's much easier for you guys to plan that kind of expense as you look to build your land home project. So that way you don't feel cheated out when a salesperson tries to show you a home that may not actually fit your needs, but they're trying to fit your budget and how they figure that out. So, for an example, if you were to come in and speak with me either virtually or in person and you're looking to do a land home, uh, we're going to start right away with budget. That's going to be super important for me because I got to work everything backwards. So I'll give you one that we did. A client that came in recently, they had about a $300,000 budget that they had in mind to spend. They wanted to be in the North Fort Worth area, and they wanted at least an acre of property. So, on average, a 1 acre piece of property here in Fort Worth is about $80,000 to $85,000. And then the majority of the property that's available is raw, so there's no improvements on there. So you got to imagine you're spending $80,000 for the land on the best case, and then you're probably going to spend about $50,000 on the best case for the improvements that you're going to be needing in order to put your home on there. So right off the bat, you're looking about investing $130,000 on just the land and improvements. So when we're looking at a $300,000 budget, we know that, hey, we have $170,000 left for the home. Now, one of the things I try to do is try to figure out what type of financing you're looking to do so we can plan accordingly. Typically, if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of manufactured homes being resold and there's not enough comparables for them to give you financing, the one thing I know is like, okay, we're probably going to have to go ahead and have your home be built modular. So here at the Fort Worth factory, all our homes, whether it be a Keystone series or a Super Saver series, we build it in modular. It's about a $20,000 to $25,000 upgrade to do. But with modular, you are going to get the comparables against a traditional site-built home and not a manufactured home because it's built to those codes. Doesn't look like one, but you get the comparables to it. So typically that's where we want to be at. So, like I said, at 170, then at that point we're looking at 150. So, and as the budget starts to drop, so does the size of the home that we're looking at. So, but at least that way you can understand, as far as us as a person that's across from you trying to figure out a home and try to fit everything together. That's what we're seeing. So it's not that we don't want to sell you the big, beautiful Magnum. We sure do. We want to sell you the home that's going to fit you. We just ask that you don't get frustrated with us. We understand that it's a lot of information and it's costly. We understand everything's just expensive, and we want to do our best to try to make sure that you save money. Yes, Paula, we do have a factory through our sister company called Destiny that delivers out to Georgia. Let me see if I can pull that up and give you a link really quick. And they have a dealer out of, let's see here, out of Athens called Comfort Homes of Athens, and they sell our homes from Destiny. And they're the ones that actually cover the southern states on here. So I'm going to put this information here for you. Hopefully it goes through. All right, but we do. Destiny Homes. They're the ones that cover South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, believe they cover Mississippi as well. Okay, it's not letting me send this over. Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, it's not allowing me to send you the link for whatever reason, but it's DESTINY homebuilders.com. So it's destinyhomebuilders.com, and their website is super hands-on friendly, uh, and you'll be able to find the retailer closest to you there in Georgia. All right, so I've been on now for about a half hour, just kind of talking about expenses on the line home stuff. Time frames is another sensitive issue. Um, if you have the right person, you can really time everything out so it doesn't feel like it's taking forever. So typically, if I have a customer that's doing a line home project and we know that our backlog right now, oh, talking about backlog, guess what, guys? Our backlog has dropped to 5 months out of our factory versus 6 months. So we've actually gained a whole nother month, which I'm super proud of because uh, many of you know that we opened a second part to our facility where we do the subflooring, the chassis, all in a different area. So with the new employees that we hired back in August when we opened that up, they're very well trained now. So everybody's moving a lot quicker, which has helped us drop construction time on there. So it's really nice to hear that news today that we haven't lost any orders, but we've picked up production, which is great. So if we can get to 8 homes a day, or we 8 homes a day, that'll be awesome as far as being able to get homes out to you sooner. But just kind of timing things out. So, like I mentioned, we know that the wells are going to take at least 5 or 6 months to get put in due to how busy they are. There is occasions that they can show up a lot sooner, but for myself, typically, I'm going to order the well company to go out and install a well the moment we close. That way we get put in there. I'm not going to wait for the house to show up in order for us to put the well. Uh, Typically, if you don't have any electric, depending who's your source, whether it be Encore or someone else, they may be 2 months out from doing it. So we plan everything accordingly to what their timelines are and when we're expecting the home to come offline. So one, we don't damage the well, we don't damage the septics, we don't damage the electrical lines. We want to plan everything out while we're waiting for your home to be built. So we just ask you guys to have that kind of expectation too when you're doing one of these deals. Is that everyone's hard pressed about trying to get a home as soon as possible, and we understand that. And typically, if you're going to do a land home deal, you're in for a long haul. You're looking for a year. You're looking up to a year and a half in some locations, depending on which home that you go with. You know, it's better that you know that. You guys know that I'm going to shoot it to you straight, and you guys can decide to purchase from me or not to purchase from me. It's okay. It does not hurt my feelings, and no, it doesn't hurt yours. But at least that way, you know what to expect. We're going to set the right timetables for you. I always try to make sure I can meet those expectations for you, and you know, I'm not always right, but I'm not off by a whole lot, a lot of the times. So typically, you know, like here recently, you know, we've overshot some time frames, but at least that way, when if I finish a week or 2 weeks or even a month sooner than the time frame I gave you, you're not going to be disappointed, and that's what we want to do. Can y'all set up a solar powered well system? So I have not done solar power, but we do know companies that can do that. I actually suggested that to my sister in Arizona when she put her well in, and her electrical company was like 2 months out from being able to come out and put a meter. She decided to run her well on a generator instead of putting the solar panels. But yeah, we have contractors that do that. The other system that we've done out in West Texas, because it's windy out there, we've done the little small propeller, wind propeller generator as well. So the contractors, they're pretty smart in what they do and how to make things work. So they can definitely do that. So, do you guys have a rituals that you guys do on Friday aside from the 5 o'clock forum? Is there anything that you guys do with your families, or just for self care for yourselves? Pedicures, facials, or just going out for a walk? Is there anything in particular that you guys have in routine? I ask this while we wait for some other questions to pop up. I typically want to give you guys at least 45 minutes of time on these feeds to answer that. Oh, crochet. That's fun. My niece, she does a lot of crochet work as well. Um, Typically, just so you guys can get to know me better. Typically on Fridays, after I leave work, we have a movie night, and we rotate between my wife and our two girls. We rotate. So sometimes we watch Pokemon, or I say I watch Pokemon with them. Sometimes we'll watch. We watched every single Disney movie. Also, uh, the DreamWorks movies, we watch those. But typically, that's what we do on Fridays. And then at night, I'm now starting to read. I don't like reading, guys. I really don't. But uh, my kids and my wife do. So I'm just trying to take up things that they like themselves. But one thing I do find by reading is that I learn some new words. So it is a good thing. I was just really lazy. Uh, I read contracts. I know my contracts back and forth. I always felt like, well, that makes me money, so I might as well take the time to do that. But aside from that, I don't like to read. Do you guys like to read? And if so, what's been one of your favorite books to read? So, book wise, that I've been reading here lately, there's a book called "Not a Fan" by Kyle Idleman. Uh, it is a Christian-based book. It's very interesting. I've been reading that. Oh, horses. Yeah. Do you happen to own any horses, or you just have an interest in horses? Our our sales manager here, his name is Howard. If you guys have seen our 17-week series of how we build our homes here in Fort Worth, Howard is the one we have featured on there. He goes through all the construction. He is a huge horse guy, and he's actually from Georgia. Uh, he went to the University of Georgia there as well. So his office is just it's University of Georgia, everything that's in there. What kind of horses did you used to have, Paula? he probably needs to go back to Georgia. Oh, Arabians, such pretty horses. And so out there in Georgia, where you're at now, are you looking to get property, or do you have property already? And are you looking to get horses again? Oh, that is a great question. Um, what does he breed? If you tune in next week, I will have an answer for you. I will have an answer for you for sure. Well, how exciting, a family farm. In case that you try to reach out to Destiny and you have any, you don't have any luck, you can email me here, and I can try to reach out to the facility manager there and see if they can set you up with somebody directly. I just got to make sure I go through proper chains of command by referring you first to their website, and then for whatever reason they don't get back to you, just email me. My email is G as in general, M as in manager, 088 at palmharbor.com, and I'll be happy to get you in contact with somebody who can help you out in case that they don't contact you. Myself, I didn't have any horses. Just to kind of tell you a little bit more about about myself, I didn't have any horses, but my parents were farm workers, so we lived out in the sticks just south of Phoenix, and everyone around us had quarter horses. So I've been around a lot of quarter horses. Uh, I think they're amazing animals. Their their character, uh, their demeanor, they're like teenagers. Well, hopefully timing is right now. We'll try to do our best to get you a home, Lord willing. So it's Girl Scout cookie time, and I will let you know why I'm referencing the Girl Scout cookies. So it has to do with baking. So right now we have a model called the Pecan Valley, and that model is very popular because it's the only home that, as of this moment, that we offer the double oven option in. So they just came out with this cookie called the Toasty Yeah, or Toasty Yay, I think is what it's called. And I like putting them inside the oven to warm up. I'm not sure if you guys know a cookie called the soft batch, and so I like to use the ovens to heat them up really quickly. I know it's a lot of waste of energy, but they taste so good. But I saw that they took away